Today's video is brought to you by Privacy.com, the service that lets you buy things online using their virtual cards instead of your real ones. Have you ever maybe signed up for a Disney Plus subscription to binge watch The Mandalorian, then forgotten to cancel your membership before the monthly charge? Well, with Privacy.com, that won't happen. Not only is your information protected online from hackers or data leaks, but you can also choose how to manage ongoing payments. You can choose cards with only a single-use option. You can set a spending limit so price increases don't catch you by surprise. Or if you don't want to deal with customer service, you can just pause your card if you want to cancel a service. So Privacy.com offers protection not only from bad actors online, but also annoying subscription services. Privacy also offers a Pro and Teams plan with money-back benefits and more. So if you're interested, go to privacy.com/Eckharts. That's linked down in the description. And new users, as I mentioned, will get $5 towards their first purchase. Thank you to Privacy for sponsoring today's video. Let's continue the content. Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Today we will be talking about the Knights of the Old Republic remake that will be coming out at some point in the future, and I'll explain why, even with all of the news from the big reveal clarified, I'm still very frustrated with Lucasfilm especially. So, a bit of backstory for those of you who missed it. On Thursday at a Sony Games conference, they announced a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. Like people had been speculating for some time, this remake is being produced primarily by Aspyr, but in association with Sony and Lucasfilm Games. Now, although people were hyped for the announcement, there was initially a lot of concern because of one key issue: console exclusivity. The Sony press conference described KOTOR as being a console exclusive to the PS5, and obviously a lot of people weren't happy about this. Not only are PS5s very difficult to find right now and maybe in the future, but a lot of people don't want to have to buy a dedicated gaming system. This was later clarified by Lucasfilm Games, who stated that the game would also be launching on the PC and that it would be a launched console exclusivity. Now, to be fair, I don't think they've even confirmed that it necessarily will eventually come to the Xbox, but either way, there was a lot of confusion when this came out. I did a live stream pretty much immediately and talked about this. Even by that point, which was like an hour afterwards, we still weren't sure about how the game would be launching. And overall, this is just a really shitty situation. It's not as bad as it could have been, but the exclusivity is just a bad look for Lucasfilm Games, especially where this is one of the first projects that they're associating with. And before anyone goes ahead and calls me a console warrior or fanboy or whatever else, I really don't care for either the PS5 or the Xbox. Right now, I don't have either. Last generation, I had both. I've pre-ordered a Halo Edition Xbox Series X because they were super rare and I was lucky enough to get the chance to pre-order one. I very well may buy a PS5 at some point, and either way, I have a gaming PC which will certainly be able to run the game when it comes out. The problem for me is greed. I personally hate the idea of games companies buying exclusivities when it comes to major franchises which are pretty much guaranteed to be successful, because really it's anti-consumer. A lot of people can't afford to buy both a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox. They'll choose one or the other and won't have a gaming PC. Like, there are a lot of people in that boat. So these even timed exclusivities are really just companies paying for a game company to remove a key feature of their game, playability on a specific system. And really, this is something we can get into about the modern game industry as a whole. Many aspects of games are purposefully removed as a way to monetize the experience even further, whether it's armors, things that were previously included as cheat codes, whatever else. Now, that doesn't mean that every exclusivity is bad, and I think it's a good way to encourage big game companies to invest in smaller games or riskier experiences. Microsoft or Sony, for example, can fund a smaller game studio knowing that if it pays off, they've got a huge windfall coming with the game being locked exclusively on their platform. It's basically a reward for investing. That's, I think, the best way for these exclusives to work. This, on the other hand, is not that situation. This is Knights of the Old Republic, a Star Wars game, one of the most popular RPGs of all time, Lucasfilm did not need to partner with Sony to get this off the ground or to guarantee sales. This game will sell extraordinarily well either way. I can guarantee that without even seeing a second of gameplay. It's just one of the most legendary Star Wars video games of all time. Partnering with Sony in this case does nothing except help Lucasfilm milk KOTOR for even more money at the expense of their consumer, because nobody except for Lucasfilm and Sony, which will sell PS5s because of KOTOR, benefits in this case. PS5 players or PC players don't get any additional content in the game. It's not like there was a specific Sony character being inserted. It doesn't seem like Sony is bringing anything to the table that other game publishers couldn't. All we really get here is Xbox fans not being able to play something. And this isn't just Sony doing this, and this isn't the first time Star Wars has done this either. The original Knights of the Old Republic was an Xbox exclusive, and if I were making videos back then, I would have talked about how it was still crappy back then. But I also think about the fact that when I was a kid, I was lucky to have an Xbox. I got it late. I certainly would not have been able to have an Xbox and a PlayStation 2, so if KOTOR had been released on PS2 instead, I never would have gotten the chance to play it, and I definitely would not be the same Star Wars fan that I am today. This case is more egregious in some ways and less in others. Less egregious because it does seem like the game will probably eventually make its way to Xbox, although we don't have it known for sure, and more because again, this is a product that Lucasfilm knows is going to sell a boatload of copies, and also because this is them getting more cash out of one of their existing cash cows, Knights of the Old Republic. They've released this game several times and people have bought it a ton. Of course, we have the original releases of KOTOR 1 and 2, but we also got a Steam version released in the early 2010s. We actually got an excellent mobile port as well in the 2010s of KOTOR 1 and now KOTOR 2 recently, both of which I've played. And this is essentially a media property that they've been profiting off of for nearly 2 decades. And if you guys are underestimating just how well KOTOR 1 sold, it was, at the time of its release, the fastest selling Xbox game ever. This thing was incredibly popular, and I remember at the time that everyone was talking about KOTOR 1. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but sort of to summarize, there definitely is a place for console exclusives in the gaming industry. Sometimes corporations and gaming companies take a big risk on a project, or they provide funding to a developer which would not otherwise have it, or they have some sort of unique technology, and in that case, they get a benefit, and in a way, the consumer also benefits because they're playing a game that they may not have otherwise ever been able to. It may not have seen the light of day or never been fully realized, etc. In this case, however, Lucasfilm Games is doing nothing to benefit the consumer. They are trying to further profit off of a project which will obviously be obscenely profitable anyway, to the detriment of their fans. And making matters worse is the fact that I'm almost 30, I'm 29. Throughout my 20s, there will have been 4 major Star Wars game releases. Star Wars Squadrons, to be fair, one of my favorite games of all time, but only a AA game. Jedi Fallen Order, another excellent game. And the 2 Battlefront games. The first one, I think most people would agree, was fairly content lackluster. Now, obviously, it's not the fault of Lucasfilm Games per se, because that was really related to the EA exclusivity deal, but now is not really the time to be putting out products which aren't consumer friendly, in my opinion. But guys, that's all I had for today. Sorry about this rambling video. I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.